are back live. I'm so excited. That countdown feels like forever when you just want to get to your guest. I have Dr. Tarantino coming up. I was on a text thread with her, and her emails, so we were passing emails back and forth, and it was senior dog doc. And I'm like, whoever this is, I love you. For anybody that knows me personally or has listened to this podcast in the past, you know my love of senior animals. I have a 15-year-old 3-pound Chihuahua right now and a sanctuary dog with Young at Heart who has all kinds of medical issues. So the first thing you need to do is follow her. I mean, it's just amazing. The advice she gives out for free. There's other things on her website. We're gonna get to that. I'm sorry. I'm like so excited. But we've also partnered for something that's really important with Live Like Rue as well. So before we get to that, sponsors, it's your time. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes mess-free lickable treats for a delightful holiday time with your dog or dogs. Reward good greetings, treat calm table manners, or enjoy a quiet walk together with their easy-to-use pouch. With 5 irresistible, all-human-grade recipes in 2 sizes, even picky pups find a favorite. One gentle squeeze and a quick lick of Bark Pouch treats, and you'll enjoy amazing attention even when you're wearing gloves. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of the CVH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. I really, really appreciate it. So I'm going to rewind a little bit. I know that most of you joined me for Dr. Lippman was here to talk about pet loss community. And I met her at PetCon in July. Live Like Rue was invited to have a table there. So what grew out of that was this amazing community of human beings that give back their time to people that are going through anticipatory grief or grief of losing a pet. And it's something I think that Live Like Rue needed for a long time. And I've never had a post with more reaction about like, good for you, this is awesome. So anyway, bringing in Dr. Tarantino now. Hello. I feel weird calling you Monica, but like I mean, we are friends, even though we've never met. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Sarah, I'm so excited to be here, and I love everything you guys do here. So I can't wait to chat about old dogs, all the things you guys want to talk about. I'm obsessed with them. So just like you.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with I can't remember which one you still have. I know you have mac and cheese.
So I have Mac still. Cheese unfortunately passed away. Yeah. So Mac is the 15-year-old 3-pound Chihuahua that I love to dress. He's kind of known for his fashion. He loves hoodies. And then Herman is the one from Young at Heart. So they have what's called a sanctuary dog. So the dog is not adoptable. So they send it to a sanctuary foster. He's ours. He's not going anywhere. But when they have so much medical going on that they can't be adopted, they rely on sanctuary foster homes. So that part of it, and I know we've discussed that this is really hard, which we'll get to, but I kind of want to hear like how did you get into this? How was your life growing up? Obviously you have a passion for animals, but how did it all start?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to be a veterinarian at a really young age. I just was naturally gravitated towards animals. I was obsessed with them. At age 5, I was able to open up. I had this like book of dog breeds that we would take from the library, and I memorized. I knew the names of all the dog breeds. I mean, I could point them out and tell you what it was, and I was just immediately obsessed. And so I ended up going to college, and then being not so sure that vet medicine was what I was going to succeed at. So I actually went into business for a little bit, but then I made a full circle, came back around as a second career, and then went to vet school, took some night classes, worked at an animal hospital, and was just like, this is it. I knew it when I was a little kid, but I kind of got off the path a little bit, and then went to Virginia Tech Vet School in 2010, and have not looked back. It is definitely my calling. And truly just a huge passion of mine since I was a little kid.
Which is so cool. I mean, it really is cool. And I feel like maybe the business part of it probably helped you and helps you now, like just that little taking a little sidestep to it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it really did. I tell people because I mean, a life happens, right? Like there's a lot that happens in life that might take you a different path and you weren't expecting to go there. And that definitely happened to me. But certainly I definitely got pulled right back into what was my passion all along, which I'm thankful for. But the skills that I learned in business, I obviously helped me today. They help me be a better people person, better relate to, talk to nurses, be a better leader in the clinic. It helped really set me up to really succeed really well as a vet. So I think that even though it was a kind of a different path than most traditional veterinarians take, it was definitely the path that was meant for me, and I'm thankful for it.
yeah, really remarkable. And I know this photo kind of has started your foray into senior dogs. But tell us about Frodo because it really started all of this.
So he's really my inspiration for behind like Senior Dog Doc and Senior Dog Revolution, the website that I run. So Frodo was a Westie. So back, I think must have been like 2004 or something. I was not a vet. I had just graduated from college, and my little brother and I went and we got a Westie for my mom. It was a little puppy that we saw in the pet store with my dad. My dad wanted to get her a little dog. She'd wanted one. We did not know at that time about like pet stores or, I mean, anything involving like puppy mills. We were not educated at that time about it. It wasn't kind of like it is now where you can find that information everywhere. But we got this little Westie from a pet store, gave it to my mom, and she was like, I didn't want a Westie. I wanted a poodle. And so it kind of got re-gifted to me. And then I moved to San Diego, took my first job out there. And I took Frodo with me. He was 1 year old at the time. And it was just like him and I, like against the world, like in a brand new city, learning, both growing up together in this new town, loving it. And he really just became my best friend in my 20s. And so what happened was I ended up, I lived in San Diego for a few years, then moved to New Mexico for a few years, and then went back to the East Coast to go back to vet school. And Frodo has been with me throughout that entire time. And as I got into vet school, Frodo was becoming a senior dog. So he became older. And I kind of was just, I had like all these amazing veterinarians at my fingertips. And we kept going through all these classic senior dog issues. He had a splenic mass. So he had a bleeding tumor inside of his abdomen that caused him to go really pale and like collapse while I was in vet school. He had neck pain where he like would refuse to move because his neck hurt so bad. He had a collapsing trachea. He developed a heart murmur. It was like age 10 hit for him. And I got into vet school, and all of a sudden, all these different ailments came on for him. There were classic senior dog issues. And I remember just going through, even though I had these amazing vets at my fingertips, I remember just feeling like I wasn't prepared at all for what it's like when your dog gets older. And once I graduated vet school and became a vet and was practicing veterinary medicine full time, I realized that many pet parents are like ill-equipped to really know what it's like. And we don't do as good of a job on the veterinary side of communicating about them. It's just like we all just know that they get older, and we expect pet parents to kind of know that, but there's really a lot more that goes into it than that. And that's what really inspired me to start Senior Dog Revolution, was just him getting older and going through that experience myself and feeling helpless during it because I wasn't a vet yet, and wanting to change that and make it different for pet parents out there.
Yeah, so basically, with all your free time as
Yeah.
a vet, you created what is called Senior Dog Revolution, and you go on there, and there's just so many resources. I think same with Live Like Rue. When you get a cancer diagnosis, you kind of feel like you're on an island because you've not experienced it. So similar to you, when you have this old dog with all these ailments, and you don't really know what to do. But one thing that I love that you preach on there is just like it's never too late. Like if you have an old dog and the dog is having issues, like there are things you can do to turn the clock back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there really is a lot that you can do with older dogs to really increase their comfort, increase their quality of life, and even delay disease. And so really being proactive with your dogs is kind of what I preach a lot about. And then I talk a lot about different things that really impact senior dogs and their lives, such as diseases of chronic pain, diet, of course. We talk about, the fact that they lose their senses as they get older. That is hugely impactful for senior dogs. We talk a lot about doggy dementia. There's so many different topics that really will impact a senior pet. And a lot of parents don't know it because pets are just so good at hiding their illnesses. They're good at hiding the fact that they've got little bits of chronic pain. And a lot of even really astute, very smart pet parents will miss signs of that. So I talk a lot about that on there and different things that you can do. Because it's so important for these older guys. I mean, you truly only have a few years, the amount of time that a pet will actually be able to stay with you in this lifetime is never long enough, and it's too short. And, if you get above a decade with a pet, Dr. Lisa always likes to say, if you, any time above age 10 with a dog is just like bonus. So like soak every single year that you have up with them. And I always believe that and think it's important to kind of live like that with them, because you really never know when something's going to happen. As soon as age, we know that age in dogs is the biggest risk factor to disability, to death, and to disease for them. And so them just being older puts them in this whole category where they are set to have new things pop up. And so really understanding the importance of being proactive, and then understanding like the fact that you really have to appreciate the time that you have with them becomes, something that you really start focusing on more when they get older.
Yeah, I want Mac to live to be 20. So he's
Yeah.
got five good years in him. But it's so true because, a lot of the rescue dogs that we take in, we don't know. Like, we don't have they ever been vaccinated? Like, the rescues sometimes have no idea. And I know Mac was found as a stray in Texas. And it's like, how did this, at that point, he was probably 5 pounds. How did he survive? And is that story even right? So it's kind of sometimes, you're starting from like square one where you don't know. And so you, a lot of the pit bulls too that we've helped, like, growing up in a backyard breeding situation, they're already so ill and so, scarred. It's hard sometimes to reverse that. But yeah, it is amazing. And I feel like you've almost found a new audience too, with your Instagram. There's so much good knowledge there. Like every day I'm like, oh, let me go see what she has. But that really is nice for you to have that outlet for people, even scrolling to see it and say, oh, that relates to me and my dog right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the other things that inspired me when I got out of vet school and started practicing too was the fact that there really are no good senior dog resources out there, right? And so you can go to a pet store, you can go to, a bookstore, and you look for resources on dogs. You're going to see stuff on puppies. You're going to see stuff mostly on puppies, but you're really going to have a hard time finding things on senior dogs. And so that was another reason to start that website and to really start bringing attention on Instagram too, was to really just get more awareness out there about senior pets having different issues. And it was amazing the response that you get, because a lot of senior dog or senior pet parents, they feel isolated, right? Like no one understands what they're going through. They're about to lose this thing that's been a family member to them for the last decade, and they're terrified, or they see them just, continuously having to deal with tough diseases that are coming up, and they're not sure if they're happy. And so really starting that community on Instagram, where, by the way, I meet the most amazing, kindest people on there. Like they're so nice. You inadvertently through there too, but just really being able to start a community to help those pet parents and talk about the things that they struggle with their senior pets, and that maybe we can do something about, maybe we can help, or maybe we can just support each other through.
One of the sponsors, Anything is Possible for this podcast, they actually have a senior dog class where Laura, who's the medical director for Live Like Rue and also a trainer there, they go through things that help mobility in senior dogs and like cognition and all of that. Like that stuff is, you always think about like food and that kind of thing, but like that stuff is just as important. And Max sleeps like 23 and a half hours a day, but he's old. Yeah. So, but that kind of stuff, even mobility is so important as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's fantastic that they do that. I've been hearing more and more things like that pop up, and there really is a big need for it. So I think it's amazing.
So day to day, what is the most tough part of what you do?
Um, I mean, day to day, certainly, I would say getting, terminal illness diagnoses for pets or seeing sick pets come in. That is the hardest thing that I think that we do. Um, it can always be, it doesn't seem to matter like how old your dog is, even if you're ready for something to pop up. I think you're almost never ready, for something terminal to pop up for them. It's always kind of a surprise. You're like, oh my God, what do you mean my 16-year-old, has something new? But I think probably the toughest part for me is just dealing with some of those tough medical cases that where you have to give devastating news to an owner. That's really hard. I think as veterinarians, we go through a lot of the emotions with those pet parents because we want their pet to be well. We want to send them out. I want to send them with good news out the door and with a success story. And that's just not always possible, especially when you're dealing with a senior dog demographic. So that's probably the toughest part of the day to day with that. Also, I mean, of course, like dealing with the general public or like mean clients, that's a really hard part for veterinarians and vet staff too, which unfortunately does happen. But I would say, certainly having to give tough diagnoses can be really tough.
Which, speaking of, I mean, we've all seen the stats about, suicide rates and people in the vet med field. Compassion
Yeah.
fatigue for somebody like you, especially, you're not only a vet, but like then you're dealing with old dogs and, resources for people with older dogs. How do you go about kind of making sure that you're in a good place?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. And yes, like burnout is huge in our field. Compassion fatigue is huge in our field. I really think arranging for appropriate amounts of time off is like critical. I wouldn't be able to do it without that. So asking for the schedule that you want, like if a 3-day work week is what you need, then ask for a 3-day work week and take 4 days off. The amount of stress, I was talking to this with one of my friends online, actually, just a few hours ago. Dr. Molly, you guys want to follow her? Dr. Molly says she's amazing. And we were talking about how in veterinary medicine, you really deplete all of the energy buckets that you have. Because like every single appointment that you have, there is an emotional energy component to it because you have to interact with clients. You have to be your best self with them. And then there's a mental energy component, of course, because you're trying to analyze and figure out the best path for this patient in front of you. And then, of course, there's a physical component. We're getting down and up and doing all these things and racing around the clinic in the back or rushing between rooms and whatnot. So you really do deplete like every single kind of bucket that you have every day in the clinic. And so that is a really unique aspect, I think, of a healthcare worker's life that you might not see in other jobs, but just that you're constantly being depleted. So you really got to take that time off to fill your cup up and get the
Yeah.
rest you need.
So much respect for you, for vet techs. Vet techs are just incredible humans because they're sometimes the front facing of the vet appointment, really that initial. Nurses, I mean, I know you said healthcare, like it's so true. Like those people, like we have to embrace them. They're so important to everybody and everything. It really is incredible. So thank you. I know you probably don't hear that enough, but
Thank you.
I'm so thankful to have you even as a resource, when I'm scrolling. So,
Yeah.
and then I just wanted to talk a bit about Pet Loss Community. So for anybody that heard the podcast with Dr. Lippman, what Live Like Rue has done is partnered with Pet Loss Community. So Dr. Tarantino is part of that as well. And what they provide is resources for anticipatory grief or loss of an animal, a pet. So they have a Facebook page, they have one-on-one sessions, they have group sessions. And I have actually gotten feedback from some people that have done some of these sessions. And some people, unfortunately, lost their pet. And I still offered, for the after care of this pet loss community, which is just as important. But I know, Dr. Tarantino, when we had a call with everybody, that anticipatory grief, and I feel it, like, in my own dogs, like I can't, I'll start to cry because I just thinking about like losing Mac, and, I haven't had him his whole life. I only have him at gas, but like that help for anticipatory grief is almost as important as for after.
Yeah, I agree. I think anticipatory grief to me has been like a silent grief that a lot of people have dealt with that they didn't even realize they were dealing with. I know that with Frodo once he was diagnosed. So the tumor that we removed from his tummy was a cancerous mass, and his prognosis was 6 months after we removed that. Frodo lived for 3 years after that. And so as you can imagine, I kept thinking I was going to lose him. I was like, oh, wow, made it past 6 months. Well, maybe we'll get a few more months. And then it's like, a year's gone by. We're like, okay, well, he's a miracle dog. Maybe we'll get, just a few more months. Like, we just kept being like, we're about to lose him. We're about to lose him. So we lived with anticipatory grief for 3 years. Also, extreme gratitude during that time too, for that extra time that we had. But I remember, when it would impact me the most is I would just be sitting there and I would just have this feeling of dread, in my gut. And I would just be looking at him. And it was just this fear that I had. And it was just literally fearing the loss of him because he was such an important part of my life. And that like, that like heavy feeling in my gut was what anticipatory grief showed up to me as. But a lot of people don't even know the name of it. The name for the feeling that they're having when they look at their older pets and they start worrying or fearing the loss of that pet and not wanting to think about, what it would be like without them. So I love that you guys have teamed up with us, but I love everything you guys do. Obviously, I live like you, and bringing attention to this feeling and this, which is a very normal feeling that pet parents can have, is super important because people really need to talk about this part of it. I think that talking about it can definitely be therapeutic to help get through anticipatory grief.
Yeah, I mean, like taking that first step, I think is so important. I know, some people just want to crush their feelings down or like ignore them, act like they're not there. But I think, between the Facebook page and the one-on-ones, or even like a group, when you hear other people going through it, or at least understanding what you're going through, because like you said, some people don't even know that it exists.
Yeah.
That it's an actual thing. But I'm so grateful for the team that you all have, that we can actually have, humans that can help, the people that really need it at Live Like Rue. So thank you. Do you have, and this might be a hard question, but do you have one like solid piece of advice for pet owners that have their senior dogs aging and they're stressing out about it and thinking about the end? Is there one piece of advice that you could give me? Yes, for a friend, me. No, just that you found to kind of help get through that.
Yeah, I think that it's all about trying to be present with that senior pet that you are fearful of losing. Because when you end up losing the pet and you look back, usually regrets can be around the fact that like you didn't prioritize that pet or you didn't set aside enough time for that pet. Those are the ways that we beat ourselves up, even though we most likely did set aside a lot of time for them and focus on them and whatnot. So I do think just trying to find an activity that you can do with your pet to be present with them once a week is really important. So almost set up like a senior dog date with your guys once a week and set aside that special time. So you're like, all right, look, on Friday night, whatever night you wanted to pick, I spend an hour just doing these different things with him. And this is our special time. But I really think that just trying to prioritize time and trying to interrupt that anxiety by being present, by putting your cell phone away and just literally being there with that old dog and appreciating everything that you see right in front of you can help, get you out of that anxiety spin.
I couldn't have said it better. I think that's great advice. And I think too, sometimes we are sitting on our couch and we're like locked into our phone and then we're trying to watch The Crown and like, like just like saying like, okay, this is time with Mac now. And, like he likes to sit in my hoodie. So sometimes like I'll put him in my hoodie and then bring him to my computer. And at least, he's here with me. It's so true. We're so distracted by everything. It is really important. And it's one thing, like we have a bucket list fund for animals that had cancer so that the owner can get out of the house, can go to a hotel or go to a photo shoot or have a party or go to a boat ride just to get out of the house and, dread whatever's coming up. It's great advice, honestly. So thank you. Thank you for that. I love it.
I love that, Sarah, that you guys do the photo shoot thing too. I think photos with them are so important and taking as many videos as you can when you have them. That's one of the few things that, after I lost Frodo and Becca was my my Labrador that I lost recently, that there's Becca right there, the old black lab right there mix. She was found, by the way, in a cardboard box on the side of the road in Arkansas, with 3 other puppies in the litter. And she was the last one that needed a home. And my brother, was like, I guess I'll take her. It was a military base in Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was a school teacher who was the wife of one of the captains at the Air Force base there. And she just like drove by this box and she was like, I don't know, something's telling me that I should just go back and like look at that box. So she went back and sure enough, there were 4 puppies in there. Becca was one of them. And, the rest is history. Then when my brother had, him and his wife had kids, Vinny, my nephew, he was allergic to animals. And so they had to rehome Becca. And I was like, give that dog to me. Like, I will take her. So I took her. So I had her for the last like 8 years of her life. But yeah, anyways, but going back to what I was saying was that with Becca, we have tons of pictures of her and tons of videos of her, partially because of all the stuff I did for Instagram.
Mhm.
And after I lost her, those videos and those pictures are just one of the things that like I just treasure so much. And maybe you feel the same way about Cheese.
Yeah. I wish I had more. And that's how I
Yeah.
am with Rue. And that's why with Rue, I mean, we did like maybe one photo shoot. We were just trying to like live in the moment. But that's why I will almost push people a little bit too hard to do the photo shoot because like having those family memories, like, and having those photos, even if you're not in them, like, and iPhones take good photos now, but it's not going to get better than a professional photo shoot. And I really do, like, it's the first thing I offer people when they're working on a bucket list, because you can't beat those moments and having those memories for sure.
They're beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. I know you have like your own stuff going on, but it seriously means a lot to me, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And right back at you. Keep up. Thank you for all that you do for all these animals and pet parents with pets with terminal illnesses. You are amazing. I love this organization, and I was more than happy to be here with you tonight.
Yes, I love the team that we have too with the pet loss community. It's incredible. I feel so honored to be part of that and have you as part of it too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Dr. Tarantino, everyone. She is amazing. Please, honestly, go follow her. It is amazing what she does. And the little like snippets she puts on there. Thanks, Patty, for the comment. That's so nice. But it's just it's news you can use, as we say. I mean, even that slow feeder, it's so good for not just seniors, but for all dogs. She's amazing. Supporting sponsors, you're up. Thank you so much to the following supporting sponsors. This holiday season, give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card for Kimberly Kingen Photography. With every gift card purchased through the end of December, we'll give $25 back to Live Like Rue Foundation, helping to spread cheer and make a positive impact with every thoughtful gesture and gift. For more details, visit Kimberly's website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly via Kimberly at KimberlyKingen.com. That's KimberlyKingen at KimberlyKingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and we're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief and extended mobility to your furry friends this holiday season. We also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit the Canine PT. That's THEK9, the number, PT.com. Liz starts at guaranteed rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Love you, supporting sponsors. Thank you, guys. Ship won't let me get the Christmas decor out yet, but it's going to happen Saturday. So this tree stays all year round, but there's a little box there for Christmas gift. It's Christmas gift ready to go. Next week's Thanksgiving, I'm not going to be live. I actually have a bunch of clients for my pet sitting, pet care service. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Again, we've gotten some great stats over the past few weeks because our guests have been incredible this whole time. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.